But I don't know, there was something about the Cersei connection, the look he had, that made me think, like, conspiracy theory again.
Well, if we are gonna find out, it'll be this next episode. Arya goes down and kills Cersei. But, like, Arya can't kill Cersei
Sansa
because
and
she already
Tyrion.
killed them.
Sansa is like, there's something I really want to tell you, but I can't.
I mean, this is again with the, like, sort of bad portrayal of female characters in this
Sansa
episode. She
and
barely
this season
hesitates
is
before saying.
I mean, you know, they always say that, like, you can tell a person's character by how they
I can't
treat
help
their
but wonder
animals.
if Euron is playing Cersei and that Daenerys is the one that he really wants. I mean, he hasn't fully cut off Cersei from his life.
Like, you can't
and
save her.
But he
Daenerys
did.
is
That's
trying
what
to
he
save
did
her.
when
Like,
he
I
left
don't know what he's
King's Landing.
trying to do necessarily.
I think Jaime's gonna kill Cersei.
Well, yeah.
Now, here's my question. Do you think he's telling her? Do you
the
think it's
truth?
like a double reverse playing the villain? That he needs
that's
to...
interesting.
It's kind of like that, you know, Moulin Rouge hurt him to save him sort of thing.
I feel like you may be giving the writers too much credit at this point.
You know, it's almost a shame they can't be like dropping leaflets into the city.
Right.
from a dragon riding across, dropping propaganda leaflets saying, Cersei's your enemy, get out of the city, I'm gonna burn everything. This is the second time now we have had a conversation with the Stark children in the Godswood. Jon gives Bran the green light to tell them to cut away, and then immediately everyone's making plans. Arya's on the road, Jon's on the move, and Sansa tells Tyrion. What if they formulated some kind of plan, and part of that plan was Sansa telling Tyrion the secret?
That would certainly make me feel better about it.
Yeah,
I can hope.
it's totally possible. I've been in this boat before where I'm given a show the benefit of the doubt, and then it keeps going, and I go, never mind.
I'm upset. Louder! I'm upset. I'm upset!
Hi, my name is Ig, and I'm addicted to Game of Thrones.
My name is Dan, and I'm addicted to Game of Thrones.
It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I last enjoyed an episode.
It's been probably about 5 weeks since I've enjoyed 4 weeks since I enjoyed an episode.
You called me on giving the writers too much benefit of the doubt, and this episode really cemented that.
Paid off.
My Ig theory, that, the stuff I was talking about with Jaime.
Literally anything that is not the characters said what they were gonna do and they went and tried to do the thing they said they were gonna do. Everything
I
was
thought
on the
there might be...
surface.
Yeah, it was very superficial. I thought maybe there was some nuance going on. I thought, considering, you know, we didn't see a conversation, that there might be something revealed there. Straightforward. Jaime says he's going back to Cersei, and he went back to Cersei.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, everyone said what they were gonna do and then they went and did it. With the exception, Arya ended up not trying to kill Cersei. That was the only distinction there, I suppose.
Yeah, and I like that. I
Yeah,
did
that's
like that moment. That nice tender moment with the Hound and Arya. And I got what I was talking about in episode 1. We got a little bit of a hug, a little bit of tenderness.
Is anyone gonna know that Cersei died? Like, is Tyrion gonna think that she and Jaime escaped? Like, that's the only bit of nuance left that there could potentially be.
Yeah, is it gonna
Is
be
not
like
knowing
that?
whether or not they died.
Is it gonna be like that disaster movie, post-apocalyptic movie moments where you have that wall of like missing posters, like people put up their family photos. Has anyone seen my brother or my husband? All those
Yeah.
things.
Because no one saw them die, so no one knows. I don't think that's going to be a reveal for us, the audience, but it'll be interesting to see how people deal with the fact that, like, Tyrion thinks they might have escaped and betrayed him, or not betrayed him, but, like,
Right.
not said the thing about the bells. So, like,
No.
there's at least that interesting piece.
Let's try to find the positives of the episode.
I mean, I like, moments of it, I suppose. I like the horse. I know no one liked the horse. I liked the horse.
No, yeah, I didn't like the horse at first because I was already so upset with everything else going on that I was like, why are we... Fine, whatever. But, yeah, after digesting it for a while, I like the horse. And I like... Again, I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to read too much into things. Unless it's just superficial. They just wanted it. It's like the bird in Battlestar Galactica, the final season. Yeah, with the horse symbolism. The riderless horse, I believe, is a longtime symbol of defeat, loss. On top of that, Arya's character is associated with death a lot. Bible, the Four Horsemen, the Pale Rider is death. So you have this white horse, and Arya riding out of the city with the horse, very much symbolic of death and loss. But there's something tender about the moment, and there's something kind of hopeful about it. So I don't know if they're trying to say that Arya's going to kill Daenerys. I don't know. I guess that's one hopeful thing. You know what? Okay, talking about positives, that's one positive. Because the thing that we've liked about this show a lot is how we have no idea what's going to happen. What's Arya's story now? You know, like
Yeah, that's true.
her list is complete and done. Yeah, I don't know, but do I care? I don't know, but do I care? That was the one thing when it ended, and I messaged people, I was like, I could not watch the finale, and I think I'd be okay.
So the interesting thing about that message was both my girlfriend and I interpreted that originally as you saying, like, this was a good ending.
Oh, no.
prior to us having watched the episode.
I could see that interpretation, yeah, being like, oh, wow, Ig really loved it. He's
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need dessert because this meal was so good, I'm completely full. No.
Yeah.
No, it was, that dinner was awful, and I don't trust to eat anything else that you put
Yeah.
in front of me.
Fair enough.
I like the idea that this moment is what will happen in the books. Daenerys likely will destroy King's Landing, but I am sure if the books are ever published that it will make a lot more sense. Well, yeah, and thinking about that more, I was like, maybe if we had like 3 more hours, like 3 more episodes before this, so essentially a full season, that we could see her kind of like going off the rails bit by bit to like lead up to this moment. Maybe I'd be able to stomach it a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to this. There was the conversation that people think like maybe this was the original ending of the series, but I don't know whether or not whether they forgot about it or what. Like Benioff and what's the other guy's last name?
Weiss.
Weiss, thank you. Benioff and Weiss finished their plot, which was like the Long Night plot. And then they're like, crap, we gotta get back to where it ends. And so they shoved it all into these remaining 3 episodes. And that's why it kind of came out of nowhere and didn't really make any sense. Whereas in the, obviously in the books, there's 2 more books coming.
I also think it goes back to, I mean, even deeper before that. Like, I look at the show and the books, and that season 5 is really the turning point. Because people keep saying, like, well, once these guys ran out of material from the books, then the writing just went to hell. And I think that's unfair. I do think they are talented writers, but I think they didn't have their own, never mind the books, I don't think they had their show planned out.
Yeah.
Because I really felt this doing my rewatch of the whole series. Like, season 1 to book 1 is very, very close. The changes are slight and small. 2, you get a little bit more, so we're getting a bit more of a ripple effect. 3, even more differences. So they said from the beginning that they only wanted to do 7 seasons. So for the
really?
most... Yeah.
Huh.
And they were both saying, no, we don't want this to go on forever. We don't want to overstay our welcome. Like, we're just going to do 7 and get out. And so HBO was able to squeeze a little bit more by, shorter seasons, divvying them up. Because this is their cash cow.
Right.
So they're spreading it out. So it's so odd that it's like they had that thought from near the beginning that we only want 7 seasons. And for the most part, for like the major tentpole storylines of books 1 through 3, they were faithful. But then they got beyond book 3, and that's when they start making all these severe cuts. You get a lot of Greyjoy's cut, a lot of the Dornish storyline is cut, and a lot of those characters are cut. Then getting there's so much in books 4 and 5 that's not in the show. That's why I think in season 5 was kind of the turning point where they were like, wait a second, we only want this to last 7 seasons. What the hell are we gonna do? Because if you are faithful to those books, and I'm not talking about like just the nitty gritty, like the major tentpole storylines, you have enough material there to go like another 10 years. And obviously that's not what they wanted to do. They were just kind of wrapped up in the momentum of it. That at season 5, they realized, oh, wait a second, no, we have to change course if we want to keep to our only 7 season plan. Even then, it wasn't enough. And a point of evidence of my analysis here is the actor Alexander Siddig, if that's how you say his name. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. who played Prince Doran Martell, he was contracted for, I think, 2 or 3 more episodes before he was killed off.
Huh.
Because, like, he got the script that he was dying and was like, what? Yeah, sure. And he's like, I don't care. I still get paid. So whatever. So they had more.
Oh, interesting.
They had more they wanted to do with him, but then they made that turn, that sharp turn. And that might also have been because Dorn was fucking awful.
That's true. I like that actor a lot, though.
Oh, me too. And I was so excited for that storyline because there's so much good stuff from the books. So season 5, they really start taking this turn. So that's where that's where I see the fork in the road is season 5. So you have characters that are making different decisions, characters that are going on different arcs and journeys than the characters from the books, and they still want to keep that same ending. So then they go, uh-oh, no, Dany needs to go Mad Queen and destroy King's Landing. So that's why everything just kind of taking this hard e-brake, power slide, left turn into that original ending.
I mean, I think it makes sense. I feel like they could have done it better, even with, the timing and the episodes they had.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of my things is I have objected over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years with the rise of, this is my Luddite pitch, but with the rise of streaming and HBO on demand and all that, the fact that people are like, our episode can be as long as we want it to be, has really led to a lot of weirdness in a way that I don't particularly enjoy. Like, for example, you were saying maybe if they had 3 more episodes this season, they could have kind of tied it together a little bit better. And, like, effectively they did, right? With the extra minutes. But, like, they didn't think of them as a 10-episode season. They thought of them as a 6-episode season, which had some really long episodes. And it's like, and some of that length was necessary and a lot of it wasn't. And I feel like if they broke it up into, like, oh, we've got 55 minutes or we've got 60 minutes or whatever, we have to use that appropriately, I think that would have come up with a better product, and they would have split it out a little bit more. Because I feel like, especially, I mean, like, yeah, it was great effects and, like, props to the effects people in this episode, but, like, we
Right.
didn't need to see that many people being burned alive. Like, we got it.
Yeah.
We understand.
Yeah. This was the first time in a long time in the show that I felt like, because it is a brutal, violent show, but this was the first time that I felt like it was really gratuitous. And this is something even the showrunners talked about.
I think we've made mistakes on that front. I mean, I think there are moments where the violence is pushed, or not so much the violence, but the gore is pushed too far. It can start to become ridiculous. There's a scene in the first season where a man is killed. Lance goes through his throat, and you see him gurgling and dying on the ground. And looking back on it, I think we have like 7 seconds of him with blood.
And I thought that was interesting. Like, oh, they're owning up to mistakes and looking back on things and growing, blah, blah, blah. Kind of since season 1, I can't think of like any other well, maybe the Red Wedding where they're stabbing the unborn child. Like, I don't think I've had that feeling of like, okay, they're overdoing it since really season 1. Like when we're watching this new sack of King's Landing and all the murder and rape and awfulness, and just went on and on and on. All right, let's try this. The explanation for our Mad Queen that we now have is that she's always kind of had this part of herself. That there's always been, well, that in her blood, nature versus nurture, but that we have seen her be cruel many times before, but it's always been against people we don't like. So we never considered her to be capable of this, even though it was there the whole time. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel
Explanation.
about that. I feel badly about that explanation because
Yeah.
even though it was, yes, against people we don't like, and there were a little bit of like, oh, this is like not what a normal person would act, that's not great in the past, like, yes, I like those moments, like, with Sam's parents or father and brother, like, I kind of like that moment. All of those moments have been somewhat justified. Like, she can explain in her head, like, this is why I'm doing this. Like, these people wronged me. In King's Landing, there is not that explanation. the townspeople did nothing to her. In fact, she knows that they want her because of the bell ringing thing. And so what I actually thought with the original, while watching this the first time, apologies if you can hear the cat, by the way, was she was angry. You know, the Red Keep was just within grasp. The person who had caused her so much trouble was in that throne room. That makes sense if she goes kind of a little bit, you know, Mad Queen and flies towards the Red Keep, burning things along the way because she's angry. And that's what I thought happened. I thought she was going directly to the Red Keep, and yes, she's killing people along the way, but like that's sort of her path to the throne. She has to do that. That makes sense to me. But then you cut to Cersei looking at her Daenerys far off in the distance, being like, "La la la, I'm gonna kill everyone," and like that doesn't make any sense. Like it is no longer. There's no
scorched
longer a
earth,
goal.
motherfucker.
She's like 100 miles away, like killing people. Like there's no goal to that, and that doesn't make any sense for her character because there's no explanation for what she's doing. And prior to that, those moments of cruelty always had explanation.
They're trying to say that those moments of cruelty that we've seen, that like she's kind of enjoyed it, but it never really played that way.
No.
I don't know.
No.
But yeah, that's a great point about. I mean, yeah, that was my. Is that you vibrating?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh god.
Okay.
Let me throw that away. Okay, that's over there.
Yeah, if she were to fly straight for the Red Keep and just light it up, like it would still be the same kind of thing. Like, oh wow, that's fucked up, but we would get it.
Right.
We would understand.
Exactly.
This indiscriminate genocide, I don't understand it. And I will say, brava to Emilia Clarke. Her performance on that dragon, where she just has this crazed eye look, and it's just this like fuse that's burning inside of her, is an amazing performance.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
actually that's another thing to call out about this episode, that no matter what the writing was, all of the actors did it incredibly well. Like, especially if, you know, from that 3-minute video, we kind of know that the actors didn't even like what they were doing. They still committed so fully to it and did such a great job with, again, the writing that they were given. So that is definitely a high point of this episode for me. One more thing that I liked about this episode was my favorite character, who I've mentioned already this episode once, and I will continue to mention as many times as possible. Davos Seaworth is the only person, one of only 1.5 people to try to help the people of King's Landing.
Yeah, is that half person going to be that Lannister soldier that we see trying to like help people?
Well, actually, so it was sort of a cross, I guess that, but also there's the cross between Jon killing the one guy who was raping that woman, which fair, good, but that was one guy, and
real
also
quick,
was one of.
Where do you think that guy was supposed to be from?
Okay, so that's a separate. We'll have that conversation.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
But that, and then also Arya trying and failing to help the people.
Oh, right.
But Davos, at the very beginning, as soon as Daenerys starts off and everyone else is still kind of frozen, there's a 5-second or like 2-second shot of Davos like pushing the people of King's Landing into safety, and I'm like, good for you, dude. This is where you grew up. You know what to do. No one else does.
Yeah, and that's why I was calling out that Lannister soldier that we see doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And here's what would have been my contribution, my pitch. Really quick tangent. There's this book called The Last Battle, or The Final Battle? The Last Battle. And it's about the Battle of Castle Eder, or Eider, I don't know how to say it, at the end of World War II. And it's where the German soldiers and American GIs, along with a couple of French VIP prisoners, all fought side by side together against the SS.
Huh.
It's an amazing story. It's a good book. King's Landing, everything's going to shit. We have Lannister soldiers surrendered. Grey Worm is now a war criminal.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, in that moment, where all the Northmen run past Jon, they've spent so much in the show, even recently, talking about how Jon's whole story is like winning people's respect through action and people following him. Like Davos has said it, all those hard sons of bitches picked him as their leader because they believe in him. Up until now, Daenerys is talking about how everybody loves Jon, Everybody's looking at Jon the way they used to look at her in the East, but she can't get that. And now here we are in the moment. I understand like the idea of like bloodlust in the heat of battle, and it's something Game of Thrones has talked about a lot, but that's not what's happening in that moment.
Especially
And these-
because we've already established that they hate these people from across the sea. Like, Missandei and him both get weird looks.
Right.
They're not going to follow this dude and
I
run
get-
past Jon. It's not going to happen.
And I get that the Northerners hate the Lannisters, but I just couldn't believe that it was just automatic.
Yeah.
The Northerners are running past Jon to go get some kills in. That nobody was like looking to him first, you know, like what do we do? Like these other people are murdering people.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Like he had to like physically like grab people and pull them back and say no. And I'm like, what is going on? All right, so what I wanted, tying this all together with your Davos moment and that Lannister soldier moment, I wanted to see Northerners protecting Lannister soldiers. I wanted to see Northerners and Lannister soldiers together, helping civilians, working together, fighting together. Like, I wanted that moment.
Yeah.
And you got like a split second of it with Jon, but it was like so isolated to be like this hero moment for Jon that I was like, fuck you, show.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't about the whole thing. It was literally about that one person.
Yeah, it was about Jon, and I wanted it to be about the people. So I was very upset. I was already kind of ticked off about Daenerys because it didn't make sense. It's not that it didn't make sense. It's that we didn't understand it. We didn't feel it. And then the show, like, insulted me more when it felt dumb. It's dumb. Anyway, I think I've talked myself in circles enough about all that.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree with that, especially again on the side of the North, like because the only people who Daenerys has right now, like the only people in this army are the Unsullied, a few Dothraki who survived, and the Northmen, right? Like that's the guy that Jon killed. Going back to that, I have to assume that was a Northman. It's weird in the singular, but
The Northmen all kind of have that same sort of hard leather armor. You know, like all those squares. Pretty much the same thing that Jon's wearing, just not as nice. I think, based off the look of the guy, I think he was supposed to be from the Vale.
Oh, okay. So that makes it a little more sense. Because I was like, the Northmen wouldn't do that. I mean, they would, right? But like in my
Right.
brain, the Northmen wouldn't do that, and the Vale, like whatever.
But yeah, we're seeing Northmen like hacking up civilians.
Yeah.
And again, it's super gratuitous and nasty. And we've seen Northmen being assholes before. I'm not saying it's good guys versus bad guys.
Yeah.
I've been saying from the beginning, I'm all about that, you know, conflicted, you have good and bad people on both sides. I'm all about that. But I'm talking about the continuity of how our characters fit into this. I don't believe that moment that the Northmen would have been like, fuck yeah, murder party, let's go.
Yeah, at least maybe directed at the soldiers, but not the civilians. There's no reason they would ever kill the civilians. I just don't see that happening.
And Jon, why didn't he call for the retreat earlier?
Yeah,
like
my girlfriend said that as well. She was like, okay, so you were silent for 20 minutes and in the show probably like an hour or two, and then all of a sudden decided to retreat? Like, come on.
And they have that look when Jon's yelling no, where Grey Worm looks back, and it just feels like such petty
Yeah.
bullshit.
He's
Like, you know, he's gonna tell Daenerys, be like, Jon didn't want to murder everyone.
Yeah.
Like I was murdering everyone. And also when Daenerys was buying the Unsullied, the whole pitch was, you know, where Jorah talks about there's a beast in every man, and it stirs when you put a sword in his hand. And he specifically talks about the sack of King's Landing and how terrible it was, and making the case that the Unsullied are so disciplined that won't happen.
Yeah.
So I hope she kept her warranty, because these guys are defective. I understand the Grey Worm thing. He loved me Sunday. Did you see that thing? When
Oh,
they had
yes,
it in the
the
ice
Sunday.
cream?
Yes, it's great.
So I get that, but just it's dumb.
Yes.
It's dumb. On my checklist of things that I wanted. The other thing is, I wanted Tyrion to take off the badge, like drop it in the dirt, turn around and walk away.
Yeah, instead we just didn't see him for half an hour.
He's just looking shocked and terrible.
There's
and his
no
jaw's
way
on
he
the floor.
survived. No way.
Well, He's off in the distance. He's watching.
So was she. Daenerys was. That's exactly where she was burning everyone.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Didn't he go into the city? He walked into the city. I thought he did. Maybe he didn't. I'm pretty sure he walked in afterwards.
I could check.
Oh, also, no way Davos survives, because he's not a fighter. He said he's not a fighter like 2 episodes ago. But
Well, do we see him retreat with Jon and everyone else?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's 100% alive, and I believe he was there the whole time, which doesn't make any sense. Like, there's the time when they're, like, confidently striding in, like, Jon
Right.
and him and some soldiers, and just, like, hacking people. Like, he would be dead in a second. But, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, so what I was going to say is, like, in the realm of things that no longer matter,
Yeah.
which is a lot of this, right? This is a lot of what you're asking for. It's like having things that were said or things that were done in the past matter, and like they don't anymore.
Right.
The Golden Company,
oh God.
like they were in and out in like 5 seconds, and so that whole thing of like we're gonna get, you know, like the guy secretly bringing them in from Bravos and paying the Iron Bank and all that none of that matters. And I get like maybe that's what they're going for, but so much of this doesn't matter. Arya going to King's Landing doesn't matter. The Golden Company coming doesn't matter. The Clegane Bowl,
the Iron Bank.
Clegane Bowl didn't matter. Like
Yeah,
just
I
all of this
want-
stuff.
I want to like Clegane Bowl, but I was already so done with everything else that was happening that like Clegane Bowl came up, and it's like I don't have the heart for it anymore. Like I'm disappointed we didn't get to understand more about the Mountain and
Yep.
how he works.
That would have been nice. Yeah, because I
And-
thought maybe there's a reveal that like the Lannister soldiers aren't actually the ones defending the city. It's a gigantic army of the dead again, but it's Qyburn's army, right?
That would have been awesome.
Yeah,
That would have been awesome. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that Qyburn's been doing his thing this whole time,
yeah, and so they have to fight
making
the
his
dead
own
again, and like
undead army.
yeah,
Oh, that would have... Daniel, why aren't we in this writer's room? But getting back on the Golden Company and all that, that also digs at my foolishness for thinking that there was more nuance going on. I thought...
oh yeah, you thought the Iron Bank was gonna come after them.
Yeah, I thought the Iron Bank was going to come after Cersei, like screw her over. I thought the Golden Company might betray Cersei because their whole history has to deal with like trying to come back to Westeros and taking over. I thought we were going to get in all these complicated Game of Thrones types moves, and no, they're just all dead immediately. Nothing fucking matters.
And like maybe that's the opinion of the show. Like maybe that's what now it's trying to say, but like that's not interesting, really. Or at least do
Right.
it so it's not literally everything, nothing, or literally nothing matters. Have like at least a few things matter.
You know what? That's a good point because that makes me think of Ned Stark and the letter that he took down for Robert. And he has that little move where Robert says, "Until my son Joffrey comes of age," and Ned writes down "my rightful heir." And you're like, ooh, that was a good move, Ned. This is going to pay off somehow. And it's like, nope. Cersei just rips
Yeah.
off the letter and nothing matters. And I was frustrated with it in the moment, but then I kind of, again, battered wife syndrome. I learned to love it. I know when I got other people into the show and they hit that moment, they're like, how could I get into a show like this where it's like they tease us with this and then it doesn't matter and it's just thrown away. So I guess this is that, but on a grand scale.
Yeah.
Where they were saying, you should have known about Daenerys the whole time. We were setting it up. It's like, I should have known about you the whole time because you told me from the fucking beginning that you guys were...
Yeah, it's true. Oh yeah, I feel like recently it's been less like this is our opinion and more we wanted to set up a lot of stuff so that some of it would pay off. Like that's exactly the Lost thing, right? They were like, we're going to create a whole bunch of mysteries and we're not going to solve all of them, but we're going to solve some of them. So you're
going to wake a sleeping dragon
I
if you
know,
want to get
I
into
know,
Lost.
I know.
We don't have the time to
That's
get into
sequel podcast.
I will defend Lost until the day I die.
I will not.
It kind of sounds like they picked Arya to kill the Night King because that's what they felt was unexpected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm okay with it because they were building up to potentially Jon and the Night King. Like in that battle, when Jon was running up on the Night King, I thought it was going to turn into a mano-a-mano fight, and I was so glad it didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I thought that would have been really dumb. So I don't know what the answer could be, but I'm fine with Arya killing the Night King. I felt it in that moment. A lot of people saying it doesn't matter, and I will debate with them on that. But here, the Golden Company, the Iron Bank, Cersei, all of that. Cersei, for crying out loud, doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this too, especially, like, is Cersei a bad queen? We don't know.
I mean, at this point, those shots of her watching Daenerys burning everything, it's like, the whole time she's doing this thing about this foreign invaders coming to destroy you. And also she was saying, like, we don't need to go fight the army of the dead. We just gotta wait it out, and then we could fight our enemies.
Yeah, like, clearly
Cersei was right all along. It's like they should create a
Yeah.
subreddit. Cersei did nothing wrong.
Like, maybe we would feel for Daenerys a little bit more if Cersei was actually... Like, she's a terrible person personally. Like, she has done a lot of shitty stuff herself, but as a ruler, like, I have no proof to say that she was a bad ruler.
The only thing would be
but
more
so-
in the earlier seasons where we do get... In season 2, where the summer is over, they're talking about, like, grain shortages and people going hungry and wanting to come to the city, and she's like, "F the peasants, I don't care."
Then do your job. Shut the gates to the peasants. They belong in the field, not our capital.
Yes, Your Grace.
They're in the city now.
Yes, they're in the city now. But that's what gets into the whole riot that happens.
Right.
And
Oh,
Tyrion
yeah.
even mentions. So we didn't get to see, once she became officially queen, not queen regent, not queen mother, but she was full on queen and she was ruling. Yeah, we didn't get to see any of her policies, anything going on, which again is another detriment to the show, because that's what Game of Thrones is supposed to be about. I didn't watch Battlestar Galactica when it aired, so I didn't have that investment
Oh,
that so many people did.
yeah.
And then they hit that final season. So I think I'm feeling what fans of Battlestar Galactica felt. That being said, I did a rewatch of BSG last year, and when I got to that final season, like, it didn't feel as much of a sharp turn as it did my first time through it. And I was able to kind of, like, tolerate it more. So I wonder if, like, in a year's time, I'll be able to do a rewatch of Game of Thrones and be able to... This final season will be a bit more palatable. Or, maybe I'll own the complete series and I'll show it to a certain special someone, and then we'll get to that final season and be like, no, we don't need to watch this. I don't know.
I think after the rescue of off of New Caprica, then you can stop.
A nice write-up I saw, a nice comparison, was Alan Rickman's performance in Harry Potter. And that, there you have a book series that's not finished. From the very beginning, he was told stuff that wasn't published yet. He was told the reveal that it was going to be that you were in love with this kid's mother, and this awful thing happened, and he has his mother's eyes, and you also hated his father. Like, he was told everything from the beginning, so he could put that into his performance.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. shit.
Turn it
Let's
off, turn
have
it
this.
off, turn it off.
And yeah, Emilia Clarke apparently is on the record saying that she was, like, shocked when she read it. So they clearly did not tell her from the beginning that this is where her character was going to go. It seems kind of clear, this whole talking about how she had this within herself the entire time.
Yeah, maybe would have been good to clue her in. Because she can do what she can do. Like, again, we saw
Right.
that in this episode. She's really good at doing that, and she could have easily brought that into the character earlier.
It's tricky because it was discussed by the character, again, with my boy Barristan.
Your Grace, a word, please, I beg you.
About what?
About your father. About the Mad King.
The Mad King. You're here to remind me of my enemies' lives? Consider me reminded.
Your Grace, I served in his King's Guard. I was at his side from the first. Your enemies did not lie.
Go on.
When the people rose in revolt against him, your father set their towns and castles aflame. He murdered sons in front of their fathers. He burned men alive with wildfire and laughed as they screamed. And his efforts to stamp out dissent led to a rebellion that killed every Targaryen, except 2.
I'm not my father.
Now, Your Grace, thank the gods. But the Mad King gave his enemies the justice he thought they deserved. And each time, it made him feel powerful and right. Until the very end.
And he's trying to talk her down when she like wants to crucify the masters and all that other stuff. He's trying to talk her down and eventually kind of gets through to her. So they do have that conversation. They talk about the Mad King and certain policies, and they even use that audio in the Previously On.
Right.
Mad King gave his enemies the justice he thought they deserved.
So it's tricky to say because they have the ammunition to say, no, we were setting it up the whole time. But I don't think they were, because I think it's more they're looking at what's there in record and then trying to what am I trying to say? They're trying to spin it. They're trying, they're going through these moments from her history and kind of realizing retroactively, all right, Mad Queen. And so they're kind of like cherry picking these moments and saying, no, see, it was, it's like PR spin,
Yeah, I like that angle.
It's tough because they have that defense, but I don't think it's genuine, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because we never saw her get that crazy before. Even when she was like burning people alive, she never had that look in her eye. Nothing like that.
Yeah. I think it was something about, this has been her goal all along and it's finally within sight. So like it kind of makes sense for them, again, if she went directly to the castle, but she didn't.
If she went straight for that Red Keep and fucked it up, it would have been shocking because they surrendered. Like, the same thing could have happened. You could have had the soldiers attack. Everything could have played out exactly. You could have had the shocked Tyrion face.
Well, again, like the whole
and
point...
we still would have felt bad against Daenerys, but this genocide, why?
Like, the whole point of, remember, there was the whole conversation. Like, she brought the people into the Red Keep specifically so that she wouldn't attack it.
I would be remiss to say, if I didn't bring it up, Jaime is captured. How was he captured? Well, he had a golden hand, and they recognized that. He traveled from King's Landing through the entire fucking country up to the north to Winterfell. He went through the gates of Winterfell, where Arya Stark herself was not able to get in without being stopped by the guards. Jaime Lannister was able to get in disguise, unnoticed. And you're telling me now he's captured, heading the opposite direction? I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, because, again, like, he just has to get there to do his thing with Cersei, and, like, they don't care how he gets there. They just have to figure it out.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about Euron.
We don't... He who shall not be named. I just... No.
When that dragonfire hit his ship, and we saw him fly out of frame, I knew it right then and there. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna show up again in the worst possible way. F***ing hell. See, now I'm getting angry about it now.
And again, you know what else didn't matter this episode? Him killing Jaime.
Because he didn't kill
Jaime. Does nothing matters anymore. On that,
if anyone's
lovely
actually,
note, I should get going. So any parting thoughts we should do, and then I will.
All right, I was just gonna say, if anyone's really watching this, read the books. Just read the books. Euron is so scary and awesome in the books. God damn it!
I was so excited to see him in the show. So excited. Like when we got to that point, I was like, yes, we can fight. And then he's Johnny Depp.
So to put this in context for show only people, I was as excited for Euron to show up as I was excited for Oberyn to show up. I was very excited. And everybody loves Oberyn. They did that right.
And like,
okay,
my girlfriend, enjoys Euron now because she says that she has accepted who he is in the show and is just like, he doesn't make any sense, but I enjoy when he shows up and makes weird facial expressions, which I get. But because she didn't read the book, she doesn't have the knowledge of what he could have been, and that's why I get into it.
That is a good thought experiment, trying to take away that knowledge in the books and think of him. But I know plenty of show-only people that hate Euron. The internet at large of people that are just like, this character's so annoying and worthless. So I feel okay even with the knowledge of the books. No offense to your girlfriend, who I respect and adore. Yeah, Euron, the Golden Company, the Iron Bank, Arya going after Cersei, Sansa telling Tyrion. These were all things I thought were going to be more nuanced. We're going to see that there was more under the surface.
Yep.
Nothing matters. And we have, what is the last episode? 80 minutes? Longer than an hour left. And I couldn't care less.
Yeah. Are we going to see Sansa again? Are we going to see anyone in the north again? I don't know, and I'm worried about it, unless they fast travel. But there's no reason for them to fast travel down.
Is Sansa going to show up again? I don't know. I still want to see House Glover get f***ed over, so I already know I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, that's true. Of all the things that could happen, that is not one of them. Which, another thing I liked. Varys's little...
I hope I deserve this. Truly, I do. I hope I'm wrong.
I liked that a lot. I thought that was a good...
Yeah, bravo to that actor.
Yeah.
He did, again, all the actors are doing great with what they have, and he did excellent. Oh, I didn't notice this until some YouTuber pointed it out. He was trying to poison Daenerys.
Yes, I did not get that either until someone pointed it out to me.
With my girl Martha. Martha could have got me some points on the board if she was able to deliver.
Points. Which does make the death make more sense. Because I was like, yeah, he's writing some notes, but like I don't know if that really deserves death, but now I get it. So
what a shame. Falling apart. And I mean, in my mind, from my perspective, for my money, and literally the last couple of hours, because I did enjoy the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to reconcile this last episode in my heart.
If you'd like to hear more amazing final thoughts, this next episode we do will be full of final thoughts on Game of Thrones, because it's the last episode. So click below to subscribe. Well, I almost had it.
Am I the only one drinking? What's happening? And hey, we're thinking about doing an episode where we pitch our own spin-offs. If you have your own ideas for spin-offs, put them in the comments below. Are you going to watch the finale? Let us know in the comments below.